Authority. The research followed the authority of the ethics board. Battle. Species engage in a battle for ecosystem resources. Cause. The study identifies factors that cause climate change. Contest. Researchers enter contests for project funding. Cure. Researchers seek new cures for previously incurable diseases. Disease. Studying disease is crucial for public health understanding. Feature. This study's key feature is long-term climate change effects. Flood. Heavy rainfall can trigger a flood, disrupting ecosystems. Influence. Social networks influence public opinion understanding. Labor. Labor force participation indicates economic health. Major. Climate change is a major factor in biodiversity. Measure. A common measure of success is result replication. Merchant. The merchant facilitated early economic development through trade. Net. The company's net income significantly increased post-cost reductions. Obey. Participants must obey safety regulations in laboratories. Obtain. Researchers seek to obtain accurate data for hypotheses. Primary. A primary source offers direct evidence in research. Process. Understanding the research process is essential for studies. Range. The study analyzed the range of climate change factors. Rate. Interest rate significantly affects borrowing costs. Release. Researchers will release findings in the next journal issue. Require. Universities require standardized test scores for admission. Section. This section explores climate change's impact on biodiversity. Source. A primary source is the most reliable information source. Abandon. Do not abandon hope for patients' recovery. Abstract. Philosophy often discusses abstract concepts without specific instances. Abundant. The region has abundant natural resources supporting industries. Accumulate. Researchers accumulate data to analyze long-term trends. Accuracy. High accuracy in measurements validates scientific research. Accurate. Accurate data is essential for scientific research. Accuse. The prosecutor may accuse the defendant of a crime. Accustomed. Students are accustomed to various teaching styles at university. Acquire. Students acquire knowledge through diverse study methods. Adapt. Students must adapt study habits for academic success. Adequate. The study needs adequate resources for accurate results. Adjust. We must adjust model parameters according to collected data. Advantage. Utilizing resources provides students an academic advantage. Affection. Children receiving affection develop better social skills. Alternative. Researchers explore alternative energy to reduce fossil fuel reliance. Amateur. Amateur researchers offer valuable insights in science. Ambitious. Researchers set ambitious goals to advance their fields. Amend. Researchers amend hypotheses based on new findings. Ample. The study provided ample evidence for climate change. Annual. The annual report summarizes the company's yearly performance. Anthem. The anthem fosters unity and patriotism at ceremonies. Anticipate. Researchers anticipate climate changes affecting agriculture. Associate. Researchers associate high stress with lower academic performance. Assume. We assume results are valid until disproven. Attire. Formal attire is expected during academic presentations. Attitude. A student's attitude affects academic performance significantly. Attribute. Researchers attribute temperature rise to climate change. Auxiliary. Auxiliary verbs form tenses, moods, and voices. Awe. Scientists express awe at the universe's complexity. Bait. Researchers use bait to attract species for observation. Benefit. Companies offer benefits to improve employee satisfaction. Bestow. The committee will bestow the highest honors on researchers. Bitterly. Students were bitterly disappointed by exam results. Bliss. True bliss arises from meaningful experiences, not absence of pain. Bond. Student social bonds significantly influence academic performance. Breadth. This course requires extensive breadth of knowledge across disciplines. Brief. The professor gave a brief overview of concepts. Burden. Families often bear the burden of education. Calamity. Natural disasters can cause widespread calamity. Candidate. The university identifies the best candidates for admission. Cast. Scholars often cast findings within historical contexts. Cease. Many species cease to exist from habitat loss. Circulate. Nutrients circulate through soil and plants, sustaining life. Civil. The civil rights movement promoted equality and justice. Clasp. Researchers used a clasp to secure components during testing. Collapse. The 2008 economic collapse prompted regulatory changes. Colloquial. Avoid colloquial language in academic writing. Commodity. A commodity is an interchangeable basic good in commerce. Community. The social community shapes identities and collective behaviors. Complement. Different species complement each other in ecosystems. Complex. The ecosystem is a complex system of interactions. Comprehend. Students must comprehend lecture material for exam success. Conceal. Researchers conceal information that may bias results. Concise. The professor offered a concise summary of findings. Concord. Results were in concord with prior research findings. Condemn. The committee condemned the organization's unethical practices. Confide. Participants often confide in therapists about issues. Conflict. Research indicates conflict between growth and sustainability. Conquest. Military conquest reshaped the country's political landscape. Consequence. Climate change consequences include severe weather and rising seas. Consonant. The study's findings are consonant with prior research. Conspicuous. Conspicuous consumption displays wealth and social status. Constrain. Researchers must constrain resources to stay within budget. Contemplate. We must contemplate climate change's global ecosystem implications. Contempt. Contempt for authority often causes social unrest. Contrary. Study results were contrary to the initial hypothesis. Contribute. Diverse teams contribute to innovative solutions. Convey. The study conveys climate change's effects on biodiversity. Cordial. Students maintain cordial relationships with their professors. Countenance. The committee's countenance enabled the policy's implementation. Counter. A counter-argument effectively presents opposing viewpoints. Crest. The crest of a wave is its highest point. Cunning. Cunning strategies by leaders caused unexpected historical outcomes. Curriculum. The curriculum ensures comprehensive subject matter understanding. Data. Data from the experiment supports the temperature hypothesis. Decay. Decay of organic matter is vital for nutrient cycling. Deceive. Researchers must not deceive audiences with misleading data. Declaration. The Declaration of Independence was a historical turning point. Decline. The region's population is in decline from economic factors. Demonstrate. The experiment demonstrates evolution through natural selection. Deny. Some researchers deny certain phenomena's empirical existence. Deposit. Students must deposit to secure housing for the year. Descendant. Genetics studies trait transmission to descendants. Desirable. Urban planning aims to create desirable living spaces. Desolate. The region's desolate landscape hinders life thriving. Some scholars despise theories lacking empirical evidence. Detect. Scientists detect environmental changes using advanced technology. Devise. Scientists must devise solutions to reduce carbon emissions. Devotion. History demands devotion to understanding past complexities. Dilemma. A moral dilemma arises from conflicting ethical principles. Diligence. Diligence is essential for thorough data review. Diminish. Excessive screen time can diminish face-to-face interactions. Discern. It is crucial to discern differences between similar species. Dismay. Students express dismay at the exam's unexpected content. Dispose. It is essential to dispose of hazardous waste properly. Distinctly. The experiment's results were distinctly different from previous studies. Distribute. The government aims to distribute resources equitably among schools. Divert. Researchers divert attention from the main issue. Ease. Students excel in exams when solving problems with ease. Efficient. Efficient resource use is vital for sustainable development. Election. The government will hold an election for representatives. Eliminate. Schools must eliminate learning barriers for all students. Eloquent. The professor's eloquent speech captivated the audience. Emphasize. Academic writing must emphasize accurate source citation. Endure. Students must endure academic challenges for success. Entreat. Communities entreat leaders for assistance during crises. Epoch. The digital epoch transformed communication and information access. Estimate. Researchers estimate climate change's impact on biodiversity. Evidence. Researchers present evidence supporting their scientific hypotheses. Exclude. Researchers exclude non-qualifying participants from studies. Exclusive. The university provides exclusive research facility access. Expand. To succeed, expand your knowledge through research. Expose. The study aims to expose diverse cultural perspectives. Exquisite. The artist's work displays exquisite detail, captivating viewers. Extension. The extension allowed more students to complete projects. Extract. Researchers extract information from diverse sources for hypotheses. Famine. Historical famines illustrate climate change and agriculture's interplay. Flush. Temperature rise can cause water to flush out. Focus. Maintain a clear focus on the primary hypothesis. Forsake. One may forsake principles to succeed competitively. Frail. Frail individuals are more vulnerable to infections and diseases. Fret. Students fret over grades and professors' expectations. Function. A function uniquely associates elements of sets. Fundamental. The fundamental principle of democracy is citizen voting rights. Futile. Researchers find reversing climate change often futile. Gale. The gale damaged coastal structures during the storm. Gap. Researchers aim to fill the gap in literature. Generation. Each generation encounters distinct environmental challenges requiring solutions. Guilty. The defendant was deemed guilty of corporate fraud. Hardy. Hardy plant species survive extreme weather conditions. Harp. Ancient cultures used the harp in religious ceremonies. Harsh. Harsh Arctic conditions hinder most life forms' survival. Hasty. Hasty decisions in research yield inaccurate results. Haughty. The haughty aristocrats alienated common people. Haunt. Past memories can haunt individuals' behavior and decisions. Headlong. The researchers acted headlong, ignoring potential consequences. Hesitate. Students hesitate to ask questions for fear of judgment. Hive. Bees collaborate in a hive for colony survival. Hollow. A hollow rock point suggests escaped gas or fluid. Homely. The homely library design fosters comfortable student study. Horror. War's horror profoundly affects soldiers' psychology. Hostile. Many species struggle in a hostile environment. Humility. Show humility in academic discussions of others' perspectives. Identical. Results were identical across all test groups. Idiom. An idiom's meaning differs from its individual words. Idle. Students engage in idle activities, hindering academic progress. Illustrate. The professor illustrated complex quantum mechanics theories. Implement. The university will implement new teaching strategies. Apply. The results imply a significant diet-health relationship. Impose. Governments impose emission restrictions to protect the environment. Impudent. The students' impudent behavior disrupted the lecture. Incessant. Incessant construction noise hindered students' concentration. Inclination. The inclination for new technologies impacts company growth. Indifferent. Researchers must be indifferent to personal biases. Indignation. Students voiced indignation over the unfair grading policy. Industrious. Industrious researchers advance renewable energy technologies significantly. Inevitable. Climate change is an inevitable result of human activity. Inflation. Inflation increases costs for consumers and businesses. Ingenious. The scientists proposed an ingenious energy storage solution. Inherent. Inherent species characteristics influence survival in changing environments. Inheritance. Cultural inheritance shapes individual identities and community values. Initial. Significant data changes occurred in the initial stage. Inquiry. Scientific inquiry reveals significant data on climate change. Inscription. Ancient ruins featured an inscription revealing cultural insights. Interpret. Researchers interpret experimental data to draw conclusions. Intervene. Governments may intervene to stabilize the economy during recessions. Investigate. Researchers investigate climate change's impact on biodiversity. Irony. The irony is that controlling nature increases unpredictability. Jest. The professor made a jest to lighten the lecture. Kindle. New findings may kindle student interest in renewables. Kindred. Literary characters often share kindred relationships reflecting values. Knit. Species can knit their genetic material together. Lament. Scholars lament the loss of cultural artifacts. Latitude. Latitude significantly influences climate and biodiversity. Lecture. The professor's lecture addresses climate change's biodiversity impact. Likely. The experiment's results likely support the hypothesis. Limp. In biomechanics, an injury may cause a limp. Lofty. Lofty ideals of justice shape social movements globally. Loyal. A loyal subject remains faithful to their ruler. Lull. The teacher lulled students into focus during lecture. Lumber. Lumber serves as a primary construction material. Luminous. Luminous stars emit light visible in the night sky. Luxury. Consumer behavior shows luxury goods signify social status. Maintain. Maintain balance between resources and time for success. Medium. The medium for bacteria growth affects their rate. Meek. A meek conflict resolution fosters harmonious relationships. Melancholy. Literature often conveys characters' deeper melancholy struggles. Menace. Pollution is a significant menace to health and environment. Mend. Diplomatic efforts must mend the country's relationship. Merit. Students are evaluated on academic merit for scholarships. Method. The method of data collection ensures result validity. Migrate. Many bird species migrate to warmer climates in winter. Migration. Human migration reveals demographic changes over time. Mingle. Individuals often mingle to build networks and share ideas. Minimum. Students must achieve a minimum score to pass. Mirth. Mirth significantly enhances social bonding, research shows. Miser. A miser exemplifies negative wealth hoarding effects. Mock. Educational systems use mock exams for test preparation. Modify. Researchers modify data collection methods for accuracy. Motto. A personal motto guides academic and professional pursuits. Murmur. The audience's murmur indicated support for the proposal. Notion. The notion of democracy has significantly evolved. Novelty. The novelty of findings inspired new psychological theories. Obstinate. Obstinate students hinder their academic progress. Obvious. It is obvious climate change affects global weather patterns. Opponent. In a debate, each opponent presents supporting arguments. Press. Governments that oppress populations encounter resistance. Origin. The universe's origin is fundamental in cosmology. Paradox. A paradox prompts deeper philosophical discussions on truth. Parallel. The two studies were conducted in parallel. Paraphrase. Academic writing requires you to paraphrase sources. Partial. The study yielded partial results indicating data trends. Passion. Students pursue their passion in art or science. Peak. The species population peaked in the early 2000s. Peep. Researchers observe birds peep through foliage for food. Peer. Peer review is essential for validating research quality. Perpetual. Perpetual motion contradicts thermodynamic laws. Persist. Researchers must persist in finding a disease cure. Phase. Significant changes occurred in the experiment's initial phase. Physical. Studying physical properties reveals matter's behavior. Pious. Ancient cultures had pious beliefs shaping laws. Plume. The eruption generated a significant ash plume. Plump. The plump fruit provides essential nutrients for health. Plunge. Investors plunged into the stock market during crises. Policy. The university's policy mandates original student work submission. Poll. The poll revealed a significant shift in voter preferences. Praise. Many cultures give praise for significant achievements. Precede. Experimental results precede previous study findings. Precise. The experiment's results indicate a precise correlation. Prior. Prior to the experiment, researchers established a hypothesis. Procedure. The procedure ensures accurate scientific results. Proceed. We will proceed after analyzing the data. Prolong. Researchers aim to prolong experiments for comprehensive data. Promote. Universities promote research to enhance collaboration. Proportion. Atmospheric carbon dioxide proportion is rising from human activities. Prudent. Prudent financial planning considers potential investment risks. Purge. Researchers must purge outdated information for accuracy. Quaint. The quaint architecture attracts numerous tourists annually. Quarrel. A quarrel over data interpretations hinders academic progress. Quench. Students engage in research to quench their knowledge thirst. Quiver. She quivered with emotion discussing her research findings. Rag. Historically, a rag was essential for tool maintenance. Rank. A professor's rank affects their research funding opportunities. Rebel. Students frequently rebel against university administration's strict rules. Rebuke. The professor rebuked students for inadequate preparation. Recommend. Professors recommend students engage in research. Reconcile. The team must reconcile differences to advance the project. Reform. The government proposed reforms to improve education. Refrain. Academic writing requires one to refrain from informality. Reject. Researchers often reject proposals lacking necessary criteria. Rely. In research, we rely on prior studies for support. Repose. The artist painted landscapes in repose depicting tranquility. Reproach. Students may face reproach for unethical research practices. Resign. The professor decided to resign from his position. Resist. Students must resist peer pressure in academic decisions. Resolve. Researchers seek to resolve data discrepancies in experiments. Restrict. Researchers restrict access to sensitive data for privacy. Retain. Students must retain lecture information for exam success. Reward. Students receive a reward for academic achievements. Riddle. Mathematics presents a riddle that fosters critical thinking. Rouse. The policy will rouse student interest in environmental studies. Rustic. The village's rustic architecture reflects its heritage. Sacrifice. Students often sacrifice free time to achieve goals. Satire. The novel's satire critiques social injustices of its time. Scandal. The financial scandal eroded trust in banking. Scar. Trauma studies reveal emotional scars' behavioral impacts. Scotch. Scotch whisky significantly influences Scotland's economy and culture. Seize. You must seize opportunities to succeed academically. Select. Researchers select a sample from the population. Sentiment. Public sentiment reveals trends in social behavior. Sequence. DNA sequence determines an organism's traits. Severe. Severe climate change consequences affect global food security. Severely. Pollution severely affected the ecosystem and biodiversity. Shallow. Shallow areas are vital for aquatic plant growth. Shame. Shame influences social behavior and personal decisions. Shelter. Natural disasters necessitate providing shelter for victims. Shrewd. The Economist offered a shrewd market analysis. Shrink. Materials shrink in size as temperatures decrease. Significant. Research showed significant climate change impacts on biodiversity. Singular. Singular value decomposition reveals patterns in statistics. Sly. Certain animals exhibit sly behavior for survival adaptation. Solar. Solar energy is a renewable resource for electricity. Soul. The sole purpose is investigating climate change effects. Solemn. Students reflected during the solemn graduation ceremony. Solitary. Prisoners in solitary confinement are isolated from others. Solitude. Students perform better academically in solitude. Soothe. Deep breathing techniques can soothe the anxious mind. Stable. A stable economy is crucial for sustainable growth. Stammer. Individuals who stammer may feel public speaking anxiety. Stout. The local community's stout resistance was notable. Striking. The study showed a striking contrast in results. Structure. Community structure significantly influences cultural practices. Sublime. The natural landscape's sublime beauty inspires artists. Substitute. Researchers often substitute variables to observe outcomes. Subtle. Subtle data differences can yield significant conclusions. Sufficient. Researchers must provide sufficient evidence for the hypothesis. Superficial. The researcher performed a superficial data analysis. Survive. Many species evolved to survive harsh conditions. Suspect. Researchers suspect temperature rise links to human activities. Suspend. The committee will suspend the decision for review. Suspicious. The results appeared suspicious, suggesting data collection errors. Sustain. Governments must sustain economic growth through effective policies. Technical. Students must develop technical skills for engineering success. Throng. A throng of students celebrated the university's achievements. Timid. Timid students hesitate to contribute in discussions. Torrent. Heavy rainfall created a torrent causing significant erosion. Transfer. Data transfer moves information between locations. Transparent. Research requires transparent data for valid findings. Traverse. Researchers traverse landscapes to collect ecosystem data. Trifle. Many significant events are mere trifles historically. Trivial. Some trivial findings can lead to significant breakthroughs. Typhoon. The typhoon damaged coastal infrastructure, necessitating disaster preparedness. Tyranny. History reveals societies suffering under tyranny. Unjust. Unjust treatment of groups causes significant social unrest. Upright. The structure remains upright to withstand earthquake forces. Valid. A valid hypothesis is testable and reasoned. Vanish. Objects can vanish in a vacuum without air resistance. Vanity. Vanity contributes to social issues like beauty standards. Vary. Experiment results may vary significantly by conditions. Vein. The study analyzed vein structure's impact on blood flow. Vex. Climate change debates vex policymakers seeking solutions. Vile. Vile workplace behavior significantly affects employee morale. Vulgar. Vulgar language undermines academic discussion's seriousness. Whereas, many birds migrate south, whereas others stay year-round. Wholesome. Wholesome diets significantly enhance mental health and cognition. Wholly. The experiment's results were wholly unexpected, prompting new theories. Willing. Students are willing to engage in enriching discussions. Wither. Plants wither from insufficient water and nutrients. Witness. A witness provides testimony regarding observed events. Woe. Historical studies reveal communities' woe during crises. Wound. The soldier sustained a serious wound in battle. Wretched. Wretched slum conditions necessitate urgent social reform. Yoke. A yoke symbolizes societal constraints on individual freedom. Zeal. Students approach studies with zeal, enhancing outcomes. Abhor. Many scientists abhor using animals for testing. Abject. The study highlighted abject poverty's impact on education. Abomination. Rainforest destruction is an abomination to environmentalists. Absolve. The committee absolved the student of academic penalties. Abstain. Participants must abstain from eating before testing. Abyss. Scientists explore abyss depths to study unique ecosystems. Acquisition. Language acquisition is crucial for understanding language learning. Adjacent. The research facility is adjacent to the campus. Adjunct. An adjunct teaches courses that enhance the curriculum. Advent. The advent of the Internet transformed modern communication. Adversary. Each adversary presents opposing arguments in a debate. Adverse. The study found adverse medication effects in older patients. Advocate. Researchers advocate early childhood education's cognitive benefits. Affinity. Researchers explore the affinity between culture and identity. Affront. The student's challenge was an affront to authority. Aggravate. River pollution can aggravate nearby residents' health issues. Aggregate. Researchers analyze aggregate data to identify health trends. Aggressive. Aggressive behavior disrupts group dynamics in psychology. Alchemy. Alchemy was a precursor to modern chemistry. Allay. Scientists allay climate change fears through renewable energy. Allegiance. Citizens pledge allegiance to their nation's loyalty. Alloy. An alloy improves properties of mixed metals. Allure. The allure of ancient civilizations captivates history students. Allusion. Authors use allusion to enrich literary narratives. Alms. Many cultures give alms to demonstrate social responsibility. Aloft. Researchers released the drone aloft for atmospheric data. Ambiguous. The experiment's data was ambiguous, hindering clear conclusions. Ambush. Conducting an ambush provides tactical advantages in warfare. Amiable. Amiable personalities enhance collaboration in group projects. Mika. The countries reached an amicable trade agreement. Amiss. The experiment's results were amiss, revealing methodological flaws. Anarchy. Anarchy denotes a society lacking government or authority. Ancestry. Ancestry reveals insights into cultural heritage and identity. Anguish. Students experience anguish during high-pressure exams. Angular. Angular momentum quantifies an object's rotational motion. Annals. The annals of history show societal structure changes. Annex. Legal studies often annex documents to support arguments. Annihilation. Nuclear annihilation poses ethical questions for humanity's future. Antagonism. Social antagonism causes significant community conflicts. Anterior. The anterior region of the body is the front. Anthology. The anthology showcases diverse authors and literary styles. Antidote. Researchers seek an antidote for specific toxins' effects. Anvil. The anvil is crucial for shaping metals in metallurgy. Appalling. Appalling factory conditions raised serious worker safety concerns. Apparition. The apparition of new species indicates evolutionary changes. Appease. Researchers adjusted parameters to appease community concerns. Apprehend. Students must critically analyze data to apprehend implications. Apprehension. Students experience apprehension during challenging exams affecting performance. Approbation. The committee's approbation was vital for funding. Aptitude. Students with aptitude excel in studies and advanced degrees. Arbitrary. Researchers often make arbitrary decisions in scientific studies. Arbor. Tree physiology studies how an arbor influences ecosystems. Archaic. Many scientific terms are archaic and replaced today. Ardent. The scientist was an ardent advocate for renewables. Ardor. The scientist pursued her research with ardor. Arduous. Completing a PhD is an arduous process requiring dedication. Stocracy. Aristocracy historically shaped political power and social structure. Aristocratic. Aristocratic values still influence modern social structures. Artery. The coronary artery supplies blood to the heart. Artillery. Military artillery studies have significantly evolved warfare strategies. Ascertain. Researchers seek to ascertain climate change's biodiversity effects. Assail. The candidate was assailed with policy questions. Assailant. Police investigate the assailant's identity in campus attack. Assent. One must assent to theories after careful consideration. Asset. An asset is a valuable resource owned by businesses. Assimilate. Students must assimilate cultural norms in new environments. Assimilation. Assimilation happens when minorities adopt dominant culture values. Asunder. Ancient ruins lay scattered asunder, illustrating time's passage. Atheist. An atheist argues against deity existence using science. Atonement. Atonement for injustices is vital for reconciliation. Atrocious. Factory conditions were atrocious, causing health complaints. Test. The experiment results attest to the hypothesis's validity. Audacity. Audacity to challenge theories drives scientific progress. Augment. Researchers seek to augment renewable energy knowledge. Austerity. Governments implement austerity to reduce budget deficits. Authoritative. The professor cited an authoritative source on climate change. Autocracy. Autocracy grants leaders absolute power without consultation. Avalanche. Snow melting can trigger an avalanche, endangering communities. Avarice. Avarice has caused social inequality throughout history. Aver. Researchers aver climate change threatens biodiversity significantly. Aversion. Students show aversion to group project participation. Avert. The government implemented policies to avert a crisis. Azure. The artist selected an azure background for tranquility. Badger. Researchers badger participants for accurate survey completion. Bale. A bale of hay measures standard feed in agriculture. Balk. Students balk at taking advanced mathematics courses. Balm. Music serves as a balm for emotional distress. Bard. The bard preserved history through oral traditions in Europe. Baroque. The palace's Baroque architecture features elaborate details. Barter. Ancient economies relied on barter for direct trade. Bask. Some species bask to regulate body temperature. Belligerent. The study analyzed nations' belligerent behaviors in conflicts. Benefactor. A benefactor donated significantly to the university's research. Beneficent. Beneficent government policies improved public health outcomes. Benevolent. The benevolent society supports underprivileged communities. Bereft. She felt bereft of guidance after her mentor's loss. Beseech. Communities beseech leaders for guidance during crises. Beset. Students are beset by anxiety during exams. Bland. The bland diet lacked sufficient nutrients for participants. Blasphemy. Blasphemy raises questions about free speech limits. Bleak. The economic outlook remains bleak for future growth. Blemish. A small blemish can significantly affect research results. Blight. Invasive species cause blight in native plants. Blithe. Students' blithe attitude fostered a positive learning environment. Bluff. Avoid calling someone's bluff in negotiations to prevent consequences. Blunder. A blunder in data collection yields inaccurate results. Bluster. Some politicians bluster instead of offering solutions. Boast. Students often boast of achievements for recognition. Boisterous. The students' boisterous behavior disrupted the lecture. Boon. The new policy will be a boon for businesses. Boost. Universities implement strategies to boost faculty productivity. Bourgeois. The bourgeois class shaped 19th century European politics. Brazen. The students' brazen disregard for rules had consequences. Brevity. Brevity enhances clarity in academic writing. Bribery. Bribery undermines trust in government institutions. Bridle. Researchers study how the bridle affects horse behavior. Brim. The hat's brim provides shade and eye protection. Brink. The country is on the brink of collapse. Brisk. The researchers performed a brisk data analysis. Brittle. Brittle materials fail suddenly under stress without deformation. Bulge. The Earth's crust bulge causes geological formations. Buoyant. A buoyant economy boosts consumer spending and investment. Burlesque. The burlesque of history reveals past absurdities. Cadence. Cadence denotes a chord sequence concluding a phrase. Callous. The report's callous disregard for victims raised ethical concerns. Candor. The researcher showed candor about unexpected results. Capacious. The capacious facility holds numerous scientific samples. Caprice. Nature's caprice causes unexpected climate changes. Capricious. Capricious weather affects agricultural study outcomes. Caricature. A caricature simplifies complex political issues through exaggeration. Carnal. Carnal knowledge raises moral and ethical concerns in cultures. Carp. Carp introduction causes significant ecological changes. Cascade. The cascade of information influences new theory development. Catharsis. Catharsis is a psychological method for emotional release. Cavalier. The researcher was cavalier about ethical implications. Celestial. Celestial bodies reveal insights into the universe's evolution. Censure. The committee chose to censure the professor's conduct. Cessation. Cessation of hostilities significantly impacted peace negotiations. Chafe. Rough surfaces can chafe the skin, causing irritation. Chaff. Separate chaff from grain to ensure harvest quality. Chasm. The chasm between rich and poor is significant. Chaste. Many cultures associate chaste lifestyles with moral integrity. Cherub. A cherub symbolizes divine knowledge in religious art. Chivalrous. A chivalrous knight protected the weak and upheld justice. Cipher. A cipher is an algorithm for encrypting data. Clarify. The professor clarified evolution using fossil record examples. Clarion. The environmental movement issued a clarion call for action. Cleave. Molecules cleave to create new compounds in reactions. Cliché. Using a cliché weakens your argument's originality. Cloister. Monks lived in a cloister for contemplation and study. Coalition. The coalition addresses climate change through collective action. Coax. Researchers coax detailed responses from interview participants. Coerce. Governments may coerce citizens into legal compliance. Cognate. Many languages are cognate, sharing a common origin. Cohesion. Cohesion is vital for community stability and cooperation. Side. Experimental results coincide with earlier theoretical predictions. Collide. In physics, objects collide, transferring energy. Colossal. Researchers are astonished by the colossal ancient pyramids. Combustion. Fossil fuel combustion emits substantial carbon dioxide. Commitment. Commitment to ethics is essential for research integrity. Compensate. Companies compensate for losses by adjusting prices. Complementary. Complementary skills enhance team performance significantly. Complication. A complication can lead to further treatment challenges. Component. Species interaction is a key component of ecosystems. Composure. Students must maintain composure to think clearly. Compress. Algorithms compress large datasets for efficient storage. A concave lens diverges light in optical devices. Concur. Researchers concur that climate change threatens biodiversity. Conflagration. The conflagration resulted from prolonged drought conditions. Congenial. A congenial environment fosters creativity and collaboration. Conjugate. In linguistics, we conjugate verbs for various forms. Conjure. Researchers study how individuals conjure past memories. Conscientious. A conscientious student submits assignments punctually and carefully. Consort. Queens consorted with nobles to secure political alliances. Constraint. A constraint may limit the study's scope and results. Consummate. A consummate researcher must possess extensive knowledge. Contemptuous. The professor's contemptuous remarks concern the students. Context. Understanding a text's historical context is crucial. Continuously. Institutions must continuously improve teaching methods. Contradict. New evidence contradicts the existing climate change theory. Convex. A convex shape contains all line segments internally. Convict. The jury chose to convict the defendant of theft. Copious. The research yielded copious data supporting the hypothesis. Core. Understanding the core concept is essential for research. Coronation. Dignitaries attended the monarch's coronation ceremony worldwide. Cosmic. Cosmic radiation significantly influences the universe's evolution. Cosmopolitan. The city exhibits a cosmopolitan culture of diversity. Coy. Participants were coy regarding their personal experiences. Craving. Students exhibit a craving for social interaction. Credulity. Researchers study credulity's impact on information acceptance. Criterion. A clear criterion is essential for research validity. Culprit. Industrial waste is the primary culprit of pollution. Cupid. Cupid represents the god of love in mythology. Curb. Governments implement policies to curb inflation effectively. Cynical. Researchers are cynical about social media's effectiveness. Dart. The animal's dart indicated a potential threat. Deadlock. Negotiations reached a deadlock, halting progress. Dearth. The study revealed a dearth of climate change research. Decoy. Researchers use a decoy to influence participants' choices. Deduce. We can deduce a correlation between study habits and performance. Defer. Students may defer final exams for valid reasons. Defiant. The students' defiance sparked a heated classroom debate. Degenerate. Species can degenerate into less adapted forms. Degrade. Excessive pollution can degrade water quality in rivers. Deluge. The deluge of information overwhelms students' research efforts. Delusion. A delusion is a belief despite contrary evidence. Demeanor. A student's demeanor influences class participation significantly. Denomination. Currency denomination significantly impacts inflation rates. Denote. In mathematics, X denotes an unknown value. Depict. The artist depicts working-class struggles in paintings. Deplorable. The study found living conditions deplorable for residents. Depreciation. Depreciation allocates tangible asset costs over time. Derision. The scientist encountered derision for his unconventional theory. Despot. Historically, a despot ruled with absolute power. Destitute. Many in developing countries remain destitute and underserved. Detain. Police may detain suspects for relevant questioning. Devoid. The region was devoid of significant biodiversity. Devout. Many devout followers engage in community service. Dialect. A dialect is a regional language variety with distinctions. Diffident. A diffident student hesitates to share ideas in discussions. Diffuse. The study aimed to diffuse climate change knowledge. Dimension. Physics describes the universe as having 3 dimensions. Diminutive. A diminutive form signifies smaller or lesser versions. Dingy. Students perform poorly in dingy environments. Steer. Researchers warned of dire climate change consequences. Discord. Researchers often experience discord in data interpretation. Discourse. Critical analysis is vital in academic discourse. Discredit. Researchers seek to discredit insufficiently supported theories. Discrete. Researchers must be discrete with sensitive data. Discriminate. Researchers must discriminate correlation from causation accurately. Disdain. Some scholars show disdain for unsupported theories. Disinterested. The researcher must conduct a disinterested evaluation. Dispel. Researchers seek to dispel diet effectiveness myths. Dispense. Accurate dispensing of medications ensures patient safety. Disrupt. Natural disasters disrupt essential services, challenging affected communities. Dissent. Express dissent in academic discussions against prevailing theories. Dissolution. The partnership's dissolution was necessary due to conflicts. Distill. We must distill complex theories into simpler concepts. Distort. Media can distort scientific findings' truth. Diverse. Academic research requires diverse perspectives for understanding. Docile. Docile animals are easier to train in captivity. Dogma. Dogma significantly shapes beliefs in religious studies. Dogmatic. A dogmatic approach hinders acceptance of new ideas. Dole. The government offers a financial dole for unemployment. Domesticate. Researchers explore ways to domesticate animals for yield. Dormant. A dormant volcano may erupt again in the future. Downcast. The student's downcast demeanor revealed research confidence issues. Doze. Some students doze during the monotonous lecture. Dubious. The study made dubious claims about the drug's effectiveness. Duplicate. Avoid duplicate data to ensure valid research results. Dynamic. Dynamic systems exhibit significant effects from small changes. EBB. The survey revealed the policies support EBB. Eccentric. Eccentric behavior reveals cultural norms and values. Ecclesiastical. The ecclesiastical structure has evolved over centuries. Ecstasy. The artist experienced ecstasy during her creative process. Edifice. The temple's ancient edifice reflects its architectural styles. Efficacy. Clinical trials demonstrated the drug's efficacy. Elastic. Elastic properties are vital in engineering applications. Elegy. Students analyze how an elegy conveys loss emotions. Elite. The university has an elite group of researchers. Ellipsis. Ellipsis streamlines arguments by omitting unnecessary details. Emancipation. Emancipation of enslaved people transformed 19th century America. Embargo. The government imposed an embargo on technology exports. Emigration. Emigration patterns reveal trends in global economics. Emission. Greenhouse gas emission increases concern for climate change. Enhance. Interactive activities enhance students' learning outcomes. Enmity. Historical enmity between nations causes ongoing conflicts. Enterprising. Enterprising students organized a charity fundraising event. Entice. The university seeks to entice student enrollment in programs. Epigram. An epigram conveys witty observations or deeper truths. Epilogue. The epilogue summarizes findings and suggests future research. Epitaph. The epitaph reflected the deceased's values and life. Epithet. A descriptive epithet enhances literary character imagery. Equilibrium. Equilibrium occurs when forward and reverse reaction rates equal. Equity. Equity denotes fairness in resource distribution. Equivalent. In physics, energy is equivalent to mass times light speed squared. Eradicate. Public health initiatives seek to eradicate diseases affecting populations. Erroneous. Many researchers drew erroneous conclusions from flawed data. Eruption. The eruption significantly altered the local ecosystem. Ether. Ether serves as a versatile solvent in organic chemistry. Etymology. Etymology reveals the evolution of words in linguistics. Evade. Students evade responsibility for assignments with excuses. Evaluate. We must evaluate current teaching methods' effectiveness. Evoke. The study seeks to evoke understanding of cultural influences. Evolve. Species evolve over time to adapt to environments. Exalted. Leaders possess an exalted status requiring respect. Excerpt. The research paper includes the author's requested excerpt. Exhortation. The professor's exhortation fostered lively student discussion. Exotic. Exotic species disrupt ecosystems and reduce biodiversity. Expedient. The team chose the most expedient approach to meet deadlines. Exploit. Researchers exploit data to draw meaningful conclusions. Extinction. Human activities contribute to species extinction. Fallow. Farmers leave fields fallow to restore nutrients. Farce. The debate became a farce, lacking serious engagement. Fatally. The methodology was fatally flawed, yielding unreliable results. Fathom. Researchers must fathom climate change's implications through data. Feasible. Finding feasible solutions to climate change is essential. Felicity. Felicity correlates with well-being and life satisfaction. Fermentation. Fermentation is essential for producing diverse foods and beverages. Ferocious. Ferocious competition drives significant technological advancements. Fertilize. Farmers fertilize crops to enhance yield and growth. Fervent. The scientists showed fervent support for climate research. Fervor. Students approached projects with fervor and commitment. Fickle. Fickle public opinion significantly impacts political campaigns. Finite. Finite resources limit population growth in ecosystems. Flaw. The study revealed a significant flaw in design. Fleece. Fleece material offers excellent insulation in cold weather. Flirt. Individuals may flirt to assess attraction levels. Flit. Researchers observed butterflies flit between flowers for nectar. Flounder. Students often flounder without proper theoretical guidance. Foil. Contrasting examples foil assumptions in researchers' hypotheses. Foliage. Plant ecology studies foliage's ecological role. Folklore. Folklore reflects community values and cultural identity. Forbearance. Students must exercise forbearance with challenging coursework. Foresight. Historical trends offer foresight into societal changes. Forfeit. Students may forfeit financial aid eligibility if requirements fail. Event. The research team felt forlorn after rejection. Formidable. The research posed a formidable challenge to theories. Forthright. Be forthright about your research limitations. Fortify. Fortify arguments with credible evidence and reasoning. Framework. The framework underpins understanding of the research problem. Frantic. Frantic efforts stabilize crises and prevent chaos. Fraught. The research was fraught with significant challenges. Frenzy. The protest crowd descended into a frenzy, disrupting order. Friction. Friction opposes motion, generating heat in physics. Frigid. Frigid temperatures significantly impact polar ecosystems. Fringe. Universities provide fringe benefits to attract faculty. Frivolous. The study's frivolous approach drew significant criticism. Frugal. Researchers support a frugal resource management approach. Fumble. The researcher fumbled with the equipment, delaying results. Fussy. Some scholars are fussy about their methodologies. Gall. It requires gall to publicly challenge established theories. Gash. The gash in the formation indicates tectonic activity. Gaudy. The artist employed gaudy colors to provoke thought. Generate. The study generates insights into climate change effects. Genial. The professor's genial demeanor encouraged student inquiries. Teal. A genteel society signifies the refined upper class. Ghastly. The experiment's ghastly consequences raised ethical concerns. Giddy. Students felt giddy preparing for graduation. Gist. The gist indicates a significant diet-health correlation. Glimmer. Researchers seek a glimmer of hope in climate data. Gloss. Provide a gloss for complex terms in writing. Glossy. The painting's glossy finish enhances its appeal. Gorge. The river's gorge supports diverse species ecosystems. Gradation. Gradation is vital for depth in artistic representation. Grandeur. Ancient civilization's grandeur is evident in architecture. Groove. Students find their groove in aligned academic subjects. Grotesque. The artist's grotesque depiction challenges beauty standards. Grudge. Individuals may hold a grudge, impacting relationships. Guile. The politician's guile manipulated public opinion effectively. Goal. Many gulls accept conspiracy theories uncritically. Gush. Water gushed from the broken pipe, flooding the street. Gust. A gust of wind toppled trees on campus. Habitual behavior significantly influences academic performance. Haggard. She appeared haggard during the final presentation. Harrow. Trauma can harrow individuals, causing lasting emotional distress. Havoc. The hurricane wreaked havoc on coastal communities. Heed. Heed your professor's advice to succeed academically. Heresy. Heresy significantly shapes historical religious doctrines. Hew. The sculptor will hew stone for a significant statue. Hideous. Pollution's hideous effects on marine life are evident. Hierarchy. Social hierarchy influences resource access and opportunities. Hindrance. Insufficient funding is a hindrance to research progress. Hoard. Ancient societies hoarded resources for survival during hardships. Hoary. Hoary traditions reveal ancient civilizations' cultural values. Homage. Artists pay homage to predecessors through traditional techniques. Humiliation. Students experience humiliation from unmet academic expectations. Husbandry. Sustainable husbandry practices maintain ecological balance. Hypocrite. A hypocrite criticizes others for similar behaviors. Hypothesis. Testing a hypothesis validates the proposed explanation. Illicit. Illicit activities undermine economic stability in developing countries. Illiterate. Many developing countries have illiterate populations, hindering progress. Illusory. The treatment's perceived benefits were often illusory. Immaculate. The research employed an immaculate methodology for accuracy. Imminent. Scientists warned of an imminent volcanic eruption. Impact. Climate change's impact on biodiversity requires research. Impair. Excessive alcohol consumption can impair cognitive function. Impart. It is essential to impart knowledge effectively. Impartial. Researchers must conduct an impartial analysis free from biases. Impede. Excessive regulations impede economic growth and innovation. Impending. The impending climate crisis demands urgent global action. Imperative. Students must complete assignments on time. It's imperative. Impertinent. The student's impertinent remarks disrupted the lecture. Impetuous. The committee's impetuous decisions caused unforeseen project consequences. Implicit. Implicit biases significantly affect decision-making across fields. Impoverish. Ineffective policies can impoverish communities and increase poverty. Imprudent. The student's imprudent choice caused grade decline. Impunity. Individuals act with impunity, eroding institutional trust. Inanimate. Inanimate objects in physics cannot move independently. Inaugurate. The university will inaugurate a climate change program. Incense. Cultures burn incense for spiritual ceremony atmospheres. Incentive. Universities offer incentives for student research engagement. Incidental. Incidental findings offer unexpected insights in research. Incite. Certain social conditions can incite youth violence. Incompatible. Many applications are incompatible with older operating systems. Incompetent. Students often feel incompetent managing exam time. Inconsistent. The study's results were inconsistent, necessitating further research. Incredulous. The scientist was incredulous about the contradictory data. Indolent. Indolent species struggle to adapt to environmental changes. Inert. In a vacuum, inert gases remain unreactive in science. Infamous. The infamous 1970s experiment raised ethical concerns. Infer. We can infer results from the collected data. Inference. Drawing an inference from data is crucial. Infernal. Geologists study infernal regions for volcanic activity. Inflate. Excessive money supply can inflate prices and inflation. Ingenuity. The scientists' ingenuity achieved a renewable energy breakthrough. Inhibit. Certain chemicals inhibit bacterial growth in laboratories. Iniquity. Historical iniquity reveals persistent patterns of injustice. Inject. Researchers inject solutions to study bodily effects. Innate. Some individuals have an innate language learning ability. Inquisition. The historical Inquisition involved rigorous questioning of suspects. Sensible. Individuals become insensible to repeated stimuli in studies. Insolent. The student's insolent behavior disrupted the lecture. Installation. Installation requires careful planning for component functionality. Insular. The insular community resisted accepting new ideas. Insurrection. The insurrection caused major government structural changes. Tangible. Intangible assets like patents enhance company value significantly. Integral. Understanding the integral theory is crucial for comprehension. Integrity. Academic integrity ensures research findings' credibility. Intensify. Certain chemicals can intensify treatment effects. Interminable. The committee endured interminable budget discussions, delaying the project. Intricate. The intricate human brain enables complex thoughts. Intrinsic. Intrinsic species value is crucial for ecosystem understanding. Intruder. An intruder can compromise sensitive system data. Invoke. This study will invoke a theory on social behavior. Irresolute. The committee remains irresolute on policy changes. Irrigation. Irrigation maximizes crop yields in agriculture. Itinerant. Itinerant workers face challenges in stable employment. Kund. The joke campus atmosphere enhances student engagement. Jointly. Several universities jointly funded the research project. Juncture. At this juncture, implications of findings are crucial. Kin. Kinship ties are vital in social organization. Knack. Many students have a knack for complex mathematics. Need. Knead dough to develop gluten for bread structure. Knell. Bee population decline is a knell for biodiversity. Laborious. The research required a laborious data collection process. Labyrinth. Ancient cultures viewed the labyrinth as complex problem-solving. Lag. Students who lag may struggle with the curriculum. Languid. The patient's languid state suggested underlying health issues. Languish. Students may languish without adequate instructor support. Latent. The study revealed latent potential in the subjects. Lavish. The university's lavish spending enhanced research quality. Layman. Quantum mechanics is complex, explained in layman's terms. Lease. The lease requires the tenant to maintain the property. Leaven. New ideas leaven traditional perspectives in academic discourse. Legitimate. The researchers presented legitimate evidence for their hypothesis. Liability. The company faces liability for safety regulation violations. Liaison. The university formed a liaison with local businesses. Longevity. Environmental factors significantly affect species longevity. Longitude. Longitude is crucial for precise location determination. Ludicrous. The committee deemed the proposal ludicrous and unrealistic. Maintenance. Maintenance of historical buildings preserves cultural heritage. Malicious. The study revealed malicious intent to disrupt infrastructure. Malignant. A malignant tumor invades tissues and spreads. Maneuver. The general planned a maneuver to outflank enemies. Manifold. Climate change involves manifold contributing factors. Manipulate. Researchers manipulate data to reveal study trends. Manipulation. Data manipulation can yield misleading research conclusions. Marginal. The marginal effect of education on income is significant. Martyr. A martyr sacrifices life, inspiring social movements. Masquerade. Individuals engage in a masquerade to conceal emotions. Meager. Meager resources hindered research progress significantly. Medley. The study presented a medley of climate change findings. Metaphysical. Metaphysical concepts examine reality beyond the physical. Meteor. Students observed meteors during the meteor shower. Militant. The militant group engages in conflicts to advocate forcefully. Mince. In academic writing, one should mince words carefully. Misleading. The study's misleading findings caused incorrect conclusions. Monarchy. In a constitutional monarchy, laws limit the monarchy's powers. Monastic. Monastic life emphasizes simplicity and self-discipline. Monotony. Monotony in tasks decreases student motivation. Morbid. Morbid phenomena reveal insights into psychology and society. Morose. The classroom's morose atmosphere hindered student engagement. Mosaic. Cultural mosaic illustrates coexistence of diverse identities. Motif. The motif of isolation underscores characters' societal struggles. Muster. The team must muster departmental support for the project. Myriad. The study revealed myriad factors influencing climate change. Mystical. Ancient cultures valued mystical experiences, linking them to divinity. Nip. Nipping problems early prevents larger issues. Nocturnal. Nocturnal animals like owls hunt effectively in darkness. Nostalgia. Nostalgia influences identity and well-being in psychology. Notch. Researchers notch significant findings in ancient civilizations. Nourishment. Children need adequate nourishment for healthy brain development. Novice. A novice struggles with complex theories without guidance. Nucleus. The cell nucleus houses essential genetic material. Nurture. Educational programs nurture student talent from an early age. Objectively. Evaluate data objectively for accurate scientific results. Oblique. An oblique angle differs from a right angle. Oblivion. Ancient civilizations fell into oblivion without records. Oblivious. Students are oblivious to available academic resources. Obsolete. Experts claim some technologies are now obsolete. Odious. The dictator's odious behavior incited widespread protests. Ominous. The dark clouds were an ominous storm sign. Opaque. Researchers use opaque materials to prevent light interference. Opportune. The opportune intervention moment improved study outcomes. Tor. The orator engaged the audience on climate change. Ordeal. Students face an ordeal adjusting to university demands. Outgoing. Outgoing students excel in group projects and discussions. Overlap. Results exhibit significant overlap with prior research. Overture. The composer's overture established the opera's tone. Pacifist. A pacifist approach fosters peaceful international negotiations. Pacify. The government pacified citizens by implementing new policies. Painstaking. Researchers conducted a painstaking analysis for accurate findings. Palate. Chefs require a refined palate for complex flavors. Pall. The professor's resignation cast a pall over morale. Paramount. Understanding climate change's impact is paramount. Parley. The countries held a parley on the treaty terms. Partake. Students partake in extracurricular activities to enhance learning. Paternal. The study analyzed paternal influence on academic performance. Pathos. The author evokes pathos, enhancing narrative emotional impact. Pedestrian. The study analyzed urban design's effect on pedestrian safety. Peerless. Her peerless contributions reshaped mathematics understanding. Penance. Individuals perform penance to atone for wrongdoings. Penitent. The penitent student expressed remorse during discussion. Perennial. Perennial plants maintain biodiversity in ecosystems. Pernicious. Pollution's pernicious effects on health are evident. Persevere. Students must persevere for academic success. Perspective. Historical analysis requires a different perspective for understanding. Pertain. Genetics pertains to heredity and variation in organisms. Pertinent. The professor stressed providing pertinent research information. Peruse. To understand trends, peruse the relevant literature. Perverse behavior can yield unexpected group dynamics outcomes. Pessimism can lead to detrimental mental health outcomes. Phenomena. Studying social phenomena reveals insights into human behavior. Phonetic transcription systematically represents speech sounds. Pigment in plants is essential for photosynthesis. Pinnacle. The research is the pinnacle of genetics achievement. Pith. Identify the pith of the argument for clarity. Placid. The placid lake reflected the undisturbed mountains. Plaintive. Researchers noted the plaintive cries of the animal. Plausible. The scientist proposed a plausible explanation for results. Plebeian. Plebeian culture illustrates ancient Rome's lower-class lives. Plight. The study emphasized the plight of refugees abroad. Ponder. Researchers must ponder findings' implications for future studies. Pore. Students must pore over textbooks for understanding. Posture. Body posture significantly influences mood and cognition. Potent. The new drug's potent effects emerged in trials. Precarious. The research team faced a precarious funding situation. Precept. Researchers must follow the precept of ethical behavior. Precipice. The country is on the precipice of collapse. Precipitation. Increased temperatures affect precipitation patterns significantly. Predicament. Students face a predicament balancing academics and personal commitments. Prelude. The prelude to studying behavior involves basic psychology. Preposterous. The committee deemed the funding proposal preposterous. Prerogative. Faculty prerogative determines essential course content standards. Prestige. Universities enhance their prestige through research and innovation. Presumptuous. It is presumptuous to claim one's opinion is unique. The researcher operated under the pretense of objectivity. Pretentious. Pretentious behavior undermines genuine intellectual discourse. Pretext. The researcher studied under the pretext of improvement. Prevailing. The prevailing theory indicates human impact on climate change. Prevalent. The theory of evolution is prevalent in biology. Privileged. Privileged students access better educational resources and opportunities. Prodigal. The project's prodigal spending caused financial losses. Prodigy. Cultures recognize prodigies for exceptional talents early. Profane. Profane language often incurs social consequences in cultures. Proficiency. Language proficiency is crucial for student acquisition. Prolific. The research team's prolific output advanced climate change understanding. Prologue. The prologue provides essential background on characters and setting. Propagation. Propagation of ideas advances technology significantly. Proprietor. The proprietor manages and preserves the historical site. Propriety. Academic writing requires propriety in language and citations. Prosper. Businesses prosper in a thriving economy. Prostrate. Under stress, individuals may prostrate before authority. Provisional. The provisional results indicate significant variable correlation. Provocative. The research findings were provocative, sparking significant debate. Prowess. The athlete's prowess was evident in the championship. Prune. To enhance growth, prune overgrown garden branches. Pry. Researchers pry into public figures' personal lives for insights. Psyche. Understanding the human psyche is essential for psychologists. Quack. Many fall victim to quack medicine lacking evidence. Quail. Students often quail at advanced mathematics courses. Quarry. The quarry of documents offers insights into history. Quell. The government sought to quell public dissent during crises. Query. Researchers make a query to extract specific data. Rampant. Rampant invasive species disrupt ecosystems and threaten biodiversity. Rapt. Students listened with rapt attention to the professor. Ratio. The debt-to-income ratio is vital for financial assessment. Rave. Experts rave about the study's innovative climate approach. Ravine. A ravine reveals erosion processes shaping landscapes. Reactionary. The government adopted reactionary policies to restore traditional values. Realism. Realism highlights everyday life and societal conditions. Recede. The tide recedes, revealing rocks along the shore. Reciprocal. Both parties benefit in a reciprocal relationship. Reconciliation. Reconciliation between conflicting parties ensures lasting peace. Reconnaissance. Military reconnaissance revealed critical enemy position details.